Alright guys, what's happening? Show you a little progress on this Ford Super Duty I'm working on here. We got about maybe 5 hours in it so far, and I went ahead and stripped the entire hood. There were so many stone chips in it that there was little rusty spots everywhere. So the clear coat, it did not want to feather back. I tried 180, I tried 80, it just fought me the whole way. I was about ready to take a grinder to it, but it's off. Everything's in an 80 grit scratch. I found one little dent in it right there. You're going to notice we're -1 fender here, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Let me show you the passenger one. All we're doing is the doghouse, the hood and both fenders. This is an aftermarket, and so is the hood. They're both in pretty good shape. This one I didn't find any dents in. I started feathering out stone chips, but I think I'm gonna end up pulling this one off too, because it only takes about 10 minutes to pull it off. And he oil sprays in here. You can see how grimy it is. The top of the battery and the inner apron's pretty grungy. And I don't know how to take the plastic fender liner out without taking the fender off. I've fought them before, but you end up breaking paint up under the wheel opening trying to do it. And for this it wouldn't matter, but for reassembly it would be a pain. Like I said, 10 minutes and you got a fender off. I sort of got some tape under there to back mask it, but it's still got a lot of grime on it. It's grimy down by the bolts, and I want to paint it all the way to the bottom. So let's just do it right. But this fender's off, and I'll show you why. So we're going to look at the damage on this fender. Now, this is typical for the paint to chip under here, and I started knocking the little rusty spots off. I got down to here. I don't know if the camera will pick up. There's body filler in it right there. You can see the edge is a little wavy, nothing a hammer and dolly couldn't fix in about 5 minutes. You see the burn marks? That's from pin welding to try and use a slide hammer to straighten this. Now I know it's full of filler, but it's a little messed up on the body line here. This looks mostly straight out here, and it's a little wrinkled in this area right here, okay? I'm gonna set you on the hood for just a second until I reposition this fender. I want you guys to see this. Now, I don't know if a shop did this or if the guy who owned the truck before did this or what, but it is one of the biggest abused ways I've ever seen body filler used in my life. And there's other ways, but okay. Now you can see, I mean, she's punched in right here. There was 3/4 of an inch of fiberglass filler once I got through the 1/2 inch of lightweight filler that was on top of it. There's no damage up in here that I could see other than a few ripples, but there's frickin' body filler all the way out in here. And it's 1/4 inch thick right there. I just didn't grind it back yet. This is packed. And you can't see it now because I ground it away, but there was a ridge of body filler overhanging down here because it was low enough you couldn't see it. They didn't even feather it back. And it's just, this is atrocious. Look how thick this filler is. I mean, there's probably still 3/4 of an inch of filler in there. For the 10 minutes it takes to pull a fender off, if you're gonna save one, beat the son of a bitch back out. Don't do this to it. I mean, there's fucking grinder marks all over it. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm using .3M clean strip disc on a roll lock here and a respirator and glasses just to try and grind this out. I want to see what the hell they did, because I talked to the owner about putting a fender on it, and this is still a genuine Ford fender, and it's not rotten, so it's still got some of the corrosion protection on it, better than an aftermarket. So we're going to try and salvage it, just because it takes me 2 hours round trip to go pick up a fender, and if I order one for delivery, it's almost double the price. These fenders are about $115 a piece at my local vendor, but they won't bring it to Medina from Cleveland. So we're going to grind this out, and I'm going to try and hammer and dolly this thing a hell of a lot straighter and put like 1/8 of an inch of body filler in it if I have to, and none of this nonsense. I bet I can get it straighter. So I'll bring you guys back in a little bit, but I wanted to show you guys that. And I wasn't going to get into a bunch of body work on this, but this one needs it, so we'll give her a go. Well, she ain't perfect. I kind of got sidetracked. I had a buddy stop over and I didn't keep the camera rolling. But basically, you saw how much mud was in this, and you can, I don't know if the camera, I'm just going to try and zoom in on it. See all the deep grinder marks? Those are not from me. That's what they did to put all the fiberglass filler in this thing and get it sort of straight. But yeah, I broke another one of my rules of putting more time in a fender than it costs to replace it. But he wanted to keep it, so I'll show you some of the tools I used here. Make sure I got this thing zoomed out. This little guy right here, I'd like to have the railroad rail dolly. I don't have one. All I got is this heel dolly, and I have a little bit bigger one, but basically I tapped it from the back side and brought all those dents way up. It's a little goofy right here. There's a body line that runs through here that's basically, I'm going to have to sculpt a lot of it. My metalwork skills aren't that great, but there was a big deep dent in it here that I knocked out from the inside. Straightened this lip around the outside. Still got a little dent here, a little one right up against the edge that I'm not going to mess with. It's so tiny I'm just going to mud it. And then my Greg Porter slapping file here. I'm getting use out of it, buddy. So I really appreciate this guy. This came in handy on this project, trying to get this straight. Now I could sit around and metalwork this for another couple hours and probably get that body line real close in it. But again, we're just going to say, you know, enough is enough. Let's just get it done. It's close enough for filler work. So I'm going to go mix up a little mud and we'll put some mud on it. All right, that's probably way too much mud, but I mixed some up. We'll see where it gets us. This has got an 80 grit scratch in it. You're probably thinking, oh my gosh, that's a lot of filler, but I want to get it pressed in and get it on the panel. We got some sculpting to do here, boys and girls. This is Evercoat Rage Ultra. Allegedly the world's best sanding body filler. We'll find out here. I've never used this stuff before. I just want to get some shape to it. They had so much mud in this thing before, and it was oozing out of every corner. The way I'd like to do it, I like to get it making contact, and then we'll start to shape it into something here. It's not real warm in the shop. It's probably 65, so I can mess with this for a couple minutes probably before I end up with a mess on my hands. Might end up taking 2 wipes to get this, or maybe 3. That's going to be tricky. Sometimes it's easier to go uphill with the stuff. Even if that body line's not perfect, it's going to be way better than what it was. As soon as this starts to kick, I'll knock some of that extra off with some 40 grit. Since I got bare steel all around it, I really don't have to get too worried about putting deep scratches in any of my paint. I'll get this way, I guess. I'm going to leave it like that. Scrape a little bit off of my edges here so I don't have a big build up anywhere. We'll go with that. We'll knock her down here a little bit. I think she'll work. Alright, there you go. That's first wipe. It's not beautiful, but I got 85% of the contour back to it. I think one more wipe and we'll call it happy. It's got some deep scratches from some 40 grit, but I stayed within this metal area and then took a soft block after I got some shape to it and put some 80 grit into it and got it pretty close here, blew it off. A couple high spots, there was one here and these couple little spots I poked through, just tap them down. I mean, this is a fender. We can go buy one if we want, but we're just gonna fix it. So I'm gonna wipe it one more time and call it good. So we'll get this one put together for you and bring you guys back when it's time to get some primer on it, now that we've got both fenders off of the truck. I mean, literally, there's no time in it. And the main reason I took the other one off is because if you look behind this thing, well, this one I wiped off. Let's look at the other one. The other one's grimy as hell behind it. Oil all over everything. I should have finished cleaning it first. I am going to bag the back of these fenders, but this is typical factory Ford when they paint them. They only get painted to that line. Why, I don't know. Probably because that's where the gun reaches to. This is the aftermarket, and the other one has still got the rubber on it. I don't know where the rubber went off the other fender, but that's black behind there. So, all right, that's it for now. I'm gonna wipe this again. It's time to go home. It's Sunday afternoon. Time to go get some stuff done at the house. We'll catch you on the next one.